Okay, so get this. AI that can write chart-topping hits. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
But before we, go full Terminator and imagine robots taking over the airwaves, how about we take a deep dive into what's really going on?
Sounds good to me.
We've got this guide for using Suno, which is like one of the leading AI songwriting programs out there. Some
Right.
pro tips on how to write killer lyrics, and even a bit about those music software programs, the DAI.
Virtual audio workstations, yeah.
Yeah, those. See, I'm still learning.
We all are. It's a constantly evolving field.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so fascinating. So, the mission for today, should we call it a mission?
Sure, why not?
All right, mission accepted. We're diving deep into how AI, like Suno, is changing songwriting. What does it mean for creators, for listeners? What does it all mean? And honestly, some of the stuff I found in these sources, wow.
I know, right?
Like, you can give Suno these super specific instructions, almost like tags, to tell it exactly what kind of sound you're going for.
It's true. The more specific you are, the better the results you're going to get.
And we'll get to this later, but even if you're not a musician, you can use things like stem separation to, like, take these AI-generated songs and really make them your own.
That's the really cool part. AI is becoming more of a collaborator than just a tool.
It's like having a superpowered bandmate who never gets tired.
Exactly.
Okay, I am pumped for this. So first things first, when people hear AI songwriting, they might picture, I don't know, robots in a studio laying down tracks.
Right, or just pushing a button and boom, instant hit song.
Yeah, but it's not that simple, is it?
Not at all. AI like Suno is a powerful tool, no doubt, but it's not about replacing human creativity.
Okay, so it's not about replacing us. It's about, like augmenting us, giving us superpowers.
It's more like having a supercharged collaborator.
Yeah.
You still need the vision, the ideas, the spark.
The human touch.
Absolutely. And the more specific you can be with your vision, the better the AI can help you bring it to life.
Like, I was reading this example in the Suno guide. It said something like, create a high-energy EDM track with a driving bass line and a euphoric drop. Wait, there was more. Include a catchy vocal hook in the chorus and minimal lyrics in the verses.
It's very specific.
Yeah, that's way more detailed than anything I've ever come up with when I've, tried to write a song.
Well, that's like we were saying. You have to be clear with the AI.
So it's like working with a musical genius who takes things very, very literally.
Exactly, you got it.
Okay, so you got to be specific. But this also makes me think, Suno can create melodies. It can even write lyrics. But
It can. It's pretty remarkable what it can do.
But if you give it, like, a super complicated idea with tons of nuances and layers, does it just, like, short circuit?
It can. You can end up with results that are all over the place. Confusing, even.
So you got to break it down for Suno. Keep it concise, keep it focused.
It's like working with any collaborator, really. You
Yeah.
got to speak their language.
Okay, that makes sense. But speaking of collaborators, and I'm using that word loosely here, how does AI even understand what makes a song a hit? What makes people want to dance or get hooked on a melody?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Literally, maybe.
Well, just like with human-written songs, there's usually a structure that works.
Okay, so there's a formula.
Kind of, yeah. You've got your intro to set the mood, the build-up to create anticipation, then the drop or the chorus where the energy peaks, then maybe a breakdown for a change of pace, and then the outro.
I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, pretty much every song I like follows that same general pattern.
And within that structure, the hook is king. That's the catchy, memorable part, the earworm.
Right, the part you can't get out of your head, even if you want to.
And all those lyric writing tips we were talking about, they really hammer home how important the hook is, keeping it simple, repeating it, making it stand out.
It's like that riff in Seven Nation Army. So simple, but it's been stuck in my head for, like, 20 years.
Exactly. That's the power of a good hook. And AI can be amazing at crafting those earworms.
Okay, but AI writing lyrics, that's just, I don't know, it's kind of freaky, isn't it?
It is pretty wild when you think about it.
But, I mean, can AI really capture, the emotion, the storytelling of a human songwriter?
That's the big question, right? And the sources we have, well, they say it's tricky.
So it's not perfect?
Not yet, at least. AI can be surprisingly good at generating lyrics, but it's got its quirks.
Quirks. Okay, I like that word better than freaky.
It takes things very literally, sometimes misinterprets things, especially like abbreviations or slang.
Wait, serious?
Oh, yeah. Like one tip is to actually spell out AI instead of using the acronym.
Because
It can confuse Suno, apparently.
AI getting confused by AI, that's kind of funny.
It has its own little set of rules you got to learn.
Okay, so even with AI, songwriting is still a learning curve.
For sure. The AI can generate the words, but it's up to the human to craft the story, make it vivid, make sure it fits the mood and the music.
So it's a partnership, like you said before.
Exactly, a collaboration. AI can help with the building blocks, but the human is still the architect.
I like that. And this is kind of a random thought, but even if you're not a musician, this whole idea of being clear, concise, structuring your thoughts, that's useful for anything, right?
Absolutely. Think about writing a presentation or even an email. Being clear and getting your point across effectively, that's a valuable skill.
Okay, so AI songwriting can teach us about better communication in general.
You got it.
All right, now, you mentioned this thing earlier, and I gotta admit, it kind of blew my mind. Stem separation. I'm picturing like separating the vocals from the music, like karaoke on steroids or something.
You're on the right track. It's like taking a song and breaking it down into its individual parts.
So like the vocals, the drums, the bass, all separate.
Exactly. Those are the stems.
Yeah.
And with stem separation tools, you can isolate those layers, even from, an AI-generated song.
Okay, that's cool and all, but why is this a big deal? I mean, I get the karaoke thing, but is there more to it?
So much more. Here's the thing. Even if you're not a musician, you can use this to actually improve a song.
Wait, seriously, I can remix a song even if I can't play an instrument?
Exactly. Let's say the AI created a drum beat that's a bit weak. You can use stem separation to isolate just the drums and swap them out for something else.
Like a drum loop or something.
Yeah. Or maybe you want the vocals to be louder. You can adjust that too.
Whoa. Okay, so I could be like, Suno, nice try, but let me just fix this bass line real quick.
You got it. It gives you so much control.
It's like AI made the cake, but I get to do the frosting and decorations.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, I'm officially geeking out over this, but I gotta admit, using these tools, it sounds a little intimidating. Where do you even begin? And we were talking about DWs before, but honestly, that term just sounds scary.
Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. A DW, or digital audio workstation, is basically the software where you edit and mix music.
So it's like Photoshop, but for music.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's your sonic canvas and your toolbox all rolled into one.
Okay, that makes it a little less intimidating. Are there like different kinds of DWs?
Oh, yeah, tons. Some are more user-friendly, some are super powerful, some are better for certain types of music.
So like choosing the right paintbrush for the kind of painting you want to make.
I like that. And don't worry, our sources mention some popular ones: Ableton, FL Studio, Logic Pro, Pro Tools. But the key takeaway is this.
Hit me with it.
Even learning the basics of a DW can massively improve your AI music. You can clean up those separated stems, add effects, even remix existing songs.
Remix existing songs. Okay, now we're talking.
It opens up a whole world of possibilities.
This is seriously cool stuff, but I think we need to pump the brakes for a second and go back to the lyrics themselves.
Right, back to the words.
We've talked about how AI can generate them, but how do you actually use this power effectively? Any tips from the sources?
Well, one thing that stood out was the importance of starting with a clear concept. What story do you want to tell? What feeling do you want to get across? Even the smartest AI can't read your mind.
Right, so you can't just be like, Suno, write me a hit.
Not quite, no. You got to give it some direction.
And that's where those meta tags come in, right? Like telling Suno what kind of mood or genre you're going for.
Exactly. They're like instructions, little hints to guide the AI's lyric generation.
So instead of just write me a song, I could say something like mood, melancholic genre, indie folk theme, lost love.
Exactly. That level of detail helps Suno understand your vision much better.
That's awesome. It's like giving AI a creative brief for the song.
You got it. And one other tip that was really interesting.
Lay it on me.
Use vivid imagery and details in your prompts. Instead of vague statements, try to paint a picture with your words.
So instead of saying I'm sad, you might say the rain is falling like tears on my window pane.
Exactly. It makes the song more engaging for the listener.
Because it evokes emotion.
Exactly. That's what good songwriting is all about.
Yeah.
And even with AI, you still got to pay attention to the rhythm and flow of the words.
Right, because words on a page are one thing, but singing them is a whole other story.
Our sources recommend reading the lyrics out loud. See where you naturally pause or you emphasize certain words.
Makes sense. It's got to be singable.
Exactly. And speaking of singing, let's talk about those catchy choruses and hooks, the parts that really get stuck in your head.
The earworms. I'm all about those earworms. What do the sources say about crafting those?
They emphasize simplicity, repetition, and emotional resonance.
So keep it simple, repeat it, and make it evoke some feeling. Got it.
Think about those iconic choruses everyone knows, like Bohemian Rhapsody, Sweet Caroline, Don't Stop Believin'.
All bangers.
They all have that simple anthemic quality that makes you want to sing along. And those catchy hooks, they also help with the structure of the song, right?
Yeah, it's like there are little musical landmarks that guide you through the song.
Exactly. A well-placed hook can act as a bridge between verses, create anticipation, and release. It's all about keeping the listener engaged.
Okay, so with AI, we have the structure, the catchy lyrics, and then we can tweak those individual stems with a DA jelly. It's like the ultimate music making toolkit.
It really is an amazing time to be creative.
But even with all this tech, isn't there one crucial ingredient that AI can't replicate?
I think you know what it is.
Human emotion.
Exactly. At the end of the day, music is about connecting with people on an emotional level.
No matter how advanced AI gets, it can't truly replicate the depth and complexity of the human experience.
Those are the stories that resonate, the emotions that move us.
So AI gives us the building blocks, the tools, the framework, but it's the human heart that breathes life into the music.
Beautifully put. It's a symbiotic relationship, a fusion of technology and human expression.
I love that. But this brings up a fascinating question. If AI can now help anyone create a hit song, what does that mean for the future of music?
That's a question that deserves its own deep dive, and luckily we have 2 more parts to this episode to explore just that.
Oh, we are just getting started. Buckle up, everyone. This is going to get wild. All right, so we're back and ready to dive even deeper into this AI songwriting thing.
Deeper we go.
Before the break, we were getting into how AI can actually help you write better lyrics. You mentioned these meta tags.
Yeah, the meta tag.
Which sound pretty key to the whole process.
They are super important when you're working with AI for lyric writing.
So they're like, what? Filters?
Yeah,
Guidelines?
you can think of them as filters or guidelines to shape what the AI spits out. Helps you refine the style, the mood, even the structure of what Suno generates.
Okay, so it's like giving Suno a much more detailed creative brief. Instead of just like, write me sad lyrics, you give it specific tags to really dial it in.
Exactly. For example, you could use a tag like genre blues, and that'll give the lyrics that bluesy feeling.
Right, right.
Or you could combine tags, something like mood, hopeful theme, overcoming challenges.
So you're guiding the AI towards a specific emotion, a message, all with these tags.
Exactly. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Okay, so these tags give you a lot more control over the lyrics than I initially thought. What are some other interesting ways that people are using meta tags?
Well, one of the sources mentioned experimenting with rhyme schemes or lyrical structures.
Okay, how does that work?
You could use a tag like rhyme scheme, ABB, to create a traditional rhyming pattern, or try something more out there, like lyrical structure, free verse.
Wow, and then see what the AI comes up with.
Exactly.
Wild. It's like these little tags unlock all these creative possibilities. But even with all these tools, writing good lyrics, I mean, that's got to still be hard, right?
Oh, for sure.
What are some of the challenges people are running into?
Well, one of the big ones is making sure the AI-generated lyrics sound natural, authentic. You know, AI is still learning.
It's not human.
Right. And sometimes the output can feel a bit robotic or cliche.
Right, because AI doesn't really, experience emotions the way humans do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important not to rely on the AI for the whole process. You got to use your own judgment, refine the lyrics, add your own personal touch, make sure it captures the emotion you're going for.
It's like AI is giving you a first draft, but you're still the editor.
You got it. You're the one shaping it into a finished product.
Okay, that makes sense. And all those lyric writing tips we talked about earlier, using imagery, paying attention to rhythm, that all still applies.
Big time. Even with AI, those fundamentals are still crucial.
Cool, cool. So speaking of rhythm, how do these AI-generated lyrics actually sound when they're set to music? Does Suno just spit out words, or does it have like a sense of melody too?
Oh, Suno's great at creating melodies. It can generate vocal melodies that fit the lyrics, the mood, even the genre you're aiming for.
No way.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
like having an AI composer working alongside the AI lyricist.
You got it. It's pretty amazing.
But how does AI even grasp like musical concepts, melody, harmony, all that stuff?
Well, AI has been trained on a massive amount of music data. It's learned to recognize patterns and notes, chords, the whole deal. It can analyze how songs are structured and use that to create new melodies that are both original and, sound good.
That's wild. So it's like AI studied the DNA of music and can now use that to create new musical life forms.
That's a great way to put it. And that's why AI-generated music is getting so much more sophisticated. We're moving past simple melodies to more complex harmonies, chord progressions, even entire musical arrangements.
So you're saying like AI could write a whole film score someday.
It's definitely a possibility.
Mhm.
We're already seeing it being used for video games, commercials. I think it's just a matter of time before it hits the big screen.
That's pretty incredible. Okay, before we get too lost in the future, can we circle back to those individual tracks we were talking about earlier, the stems?
Yeah, what about them?
You mentioned even non-musicians can use stem separation to tweak and improve a song,
It's true.
which sounds awesome, super empowering, but also kind of daunting. Where do you even start with that?
Well, the first step is choosing the right tools. Remember those digital audio workstations, the DAWs? Those are going to be key.
Okay, so a DAW is like the control panel for all this sonic magic.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you import the stems, mess around with them individually, add effects, change the arrangement, the whole 9 yards.
So even if I can't play an instrument, I can use a DAW to make an AI song sound more like, well, me.
Exactly. It's all about taking control and making it your own. That's what this tech is doing, is taking down those technical barriers and giving everyone the tools to express their musical vision.
I'm really starting to see the potential here, but man, there are so many different DAWs out there. How do you even choose?
Well, each one has its pros and cons. It really comes down to your needs, what you're trying to do. Some are more user-friendly, others are more powerful.
So it's like choosing an instrument, you got to find the one that fits.
Right. And our sources mentioned some popular ones, Ableton, FL Studio, Logic Pro, Pro Tools. But the key takeaway is this.
Okay, what's the key?
Even learning the basics of a DAW can dramatically improve what you're doing with your AI music. You can clean up those stems, add effects, even remix existing songs.
Remixing existing songs. Okay, now you're speaking my language. What else can you do with the stem separation magic?
Oh, all sorts of things. You can add effects like reverb or delay to specific stems to create different vibes.
Okay.
You can pan things around to create a wider stereo image. You could even chop up and rearrange the stems to make new rhythms and phrases.
Whoa, that's next level. It's like having the power to remix a song from scratch.
Exactly. It lets you put your own unique stamp on something that the AI created.
This is incredible. So it's like AI makes the initial creation, meta tags help shape the lyrics, and then stem separation with a DW. That's how you really personalize it, make it your.
It's a true collaboration. Technology meets human creativity.
And that brings us back to that big question we were pondering earlier. What does it mean for the future of music if anyone can create a hit song?
It's sparking a lot of debate. Some people are worried AI will just replace musicians, lead to generic cookie-cutter music.
Yeah, I can see why people would worry about that.
But it's not that black and white AI is a tool. Like any tool, it could be used for good or bad.
It's all about how we use it.
Right. It's not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together.
I like that. So you think AI could actually make music more diverse, more creative?
I do. I think it has the potential to unlock a whole new level of creativity, something more inclusive, more experimental than we've ever seen.
That's a really cool thought. Okay, but let's get practical for a second. How's AI actually impacting the music industry right now? We're seeing this stuff in action, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. For example, some record labels are using AI to scout new talent.
Really? How does that work?
They're analyzing tons of data, trying to identify artists that have that it factor, that hit potential.
So AI is playing the role of A&R now.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
It can analyze listening trends, social media, even actual music itself, and predict who's likely to make it big.
That's both fascinating and a little scary. It's like, is AI going to take over every aspect of the music industry?
I think it's important to remember that AI is still a tool that's ultimately controlled by us, by humans. We get to decide how it's used, what values it reflects, what role it plays in our lives.
Okay, that's reassuring, but it also brings up some big questions, right? The ethics of using AI in music. How do we make sure it's used responsibly, fairly, especially when you think about things like copyright, intellectual property?
Those are huge questions, and they're not going away. We're having to figure this stuff out as we go along.
Yeah.
There are debates about who owns the rights to AI music, the creator of the AI, the user, maybe even the AI itself.
Whoa, that's getting pretty deep. Sounds like the lawyers are going to be busy for a while.
Yeah, the legal and ethical side of AI, it's all still being worked out. It's a conversation that needs to happen alongside all the technological advancements.
It's like we're building the plane as we're flying it.
Kind of, yeah. But it's an exciting time to be a part of this.
Yeah.
We got to be mindful of the potential pitfalls, but we should also embrace all the creative possibilities.
I'm with you on that. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. We've only scratched the surface of what AI can do for music.
Agreed. It's a constantly evolving field. It's exciting to see what the future holds.
Me too. And speaking of the future, I think it's time we wrap up this deep dive by exploring some of the most, game-changing trends in AI music.
Sounds like a plan.
And we're back for the grand finale of our AI songwriting extravaganza.
The third act.
My head is spinning with all the stuff we've talked about.
A lot to take in.
AI writing lyrics, composing melodies, even letting us tweak those individual parts of a song, the stems, with a DAW.
We've covered a lot of ground.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's like
Hmm.
AI is giving us this whole new toolbox for musical expression, even if we're not, virtuosos or anything.
Exactly. And one of the coolest things is how AI is democratizing music creation. It's giving anyone with a computer and internet access to these tools and technology that used to be only for, the pros,
So it's like AI is tearing down the walls of those fancy recording studios.
and opening the doors for everyone.
We're seeing all these independent artists, bedroom producers, people who never even thought about making music suddenly finding their voice.
It's amazing, right?
It's like AI is unlocking this wave of creativity that was always there, just waiting for the right tools to come along.
And it's not just about creating music alone. AI is also changing how musicians collaborate. Imagine jamming with a virtual bandmate powered by AI, or instantly sharing ideas across the world.
Whoa, that would be so cool. It's like the future of band practice is happening online.
And as AI gets even smarter, that line between creator and listener, it's going to get blurrier and blurrier.
How so?
We're already seeing these interactive music experiences popping up where the audience can actually influence the music as it's happening.
Wait, seriously? So instead of just listening, we could be part of the creation process, live.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a whole new level of engagement. It makes you think about music ownership, copyright, even what it means to be a musician in the first place.
This is getting deep, man.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about these deep dives. It's not just about learning facts, it's about expanding your perspective, getting those brain juices flowing.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
This whole topic is so captivating because we're seeing a fundamental shift in how music is made, shared, experienced.
Revolution in progress.
Exactly. And who knows what the future holds. But it's definitely exciting.
Okay, so where do we go from here? What are some of the most exciting frontiers in AI music that we should be watching out for?
Well, one area that's really interesting is AI models that can understand and react to human emotions, like in real time.
Okay, I'm listening.
Imagine an AI that creates a custom soundtrack for your day that changes based on your mood, your activity.
That would be amazing. It's
Yeah.
like a personal DJ that knows you better than you know yourself.
And it's not just about personalization. AI could create more immersive concert experiences, too. Concerts where the music changes based on the energy and emotions of the crowd.
Whoa, so it's like the music is alive, evolving with the audience.
Exactly. The possibilities are mind-blowing.
But it's not just about the tech, right? It's about how we use it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's up to us to guide its development to make sure it benefits humanity.
We have a responsibility here.
We do. We need to have those tough conversations about the ethics of AI, make sure it's used responsibly, fairly.
I completely agree. Well, this deep dive has been one heck of a ride. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about AI, but about the human side of music, the creativity, the ethical questions, all of it.
It's been a pleasure exploring all this with you. You clearly have a passion for music, a real curiosity about where it's headed.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI songwriting. We hope you've learned something new, been inspired, maybe even had your mind blown a little bit.
If you want to dive even deeper, check out the resources we've linked in the show notes. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole AI music thing. Hit us up on social media using the hashtag AI Deep Dive.
We'll be keeping an eye out for your comments. But for now, that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep the music playing.